Catus, Maximus here, this time with a review of Vevor's, I say mid-size. They're calling these a safe. What they are is like more of a heavy-duty locking file cabinet. And that's the first thing to be really aware of when it comes like $250 safes. This one's about 2.5 feet tall. Has a digital locking. Get them with the fingerprint. Once you open it, after about 3 seconds, it automatically re-engages the bolt. The big deal with ordering these things rather than getting like one from Cabela's or something like that is that even though this looks like it's in fine condition, the packing material prevented denting, but it still took such a big hit that it broke some of the welding that's internal. There's this little lip here, and that's a separate piece that's been spot welded, and it actually broke the welds along this area here and this area here just from getting dropped. So this is the kind of safe you'd use to hide away the video game controllers if your kids have been misbehaving, or maybe you might give to your son or daughter if they have siblings so that they can keep some of their stuff away from their other siblings. It's not fireproof. They do have a little internal box here. These are just, it has backup locks. It does come with a little fire resistant bag, I guess, to put some important papers into, which is kind of handy having just a separate little lockbox maybe. It gives you secondary access, so somebody can maybe in an office can have access to the main safe, but you keep titles and important keys in the upper lockbox. You can adjust these two shelves. They have pretty easy, just twist lock adjustment systems on a couple internal rails. I guess here's a criticism, but it's the nature of these $250 safes. I mean, what people don't realize is if you want a safe, if you want something in this size that is a safe, it's going to weigh 500 pounds to 1,000 pounds, and it's going to set you back well over $1,000, probably a couple, probably $1 to $3 a pound for a real safe. As an example, this is just a 2-drawer legal width fireproof, known as a file safe, but it's just the same thing. It's just a heavy duty file cabinet. And this unit here has steel casters, and it weighs, it's like 400 pounds. And of course, it actually has certifications for being fireproof and safe cabinetry. A big criticism here is in case your batteries die, they include these battery backup boxes, so you can just plug this in so you can type in the code. But this thing, it's just in air. There is actually no, and if we look under here, that hole and that hole are like set screws to hold the faceplate on. You can't actually plug the battery box in, so this does not have the backup function is the little backup lock. It's using what is known as a 10 wafer lock. They call them sliders, but it's the same as the cheesy wafer locks. You can look up Lockpicking Lawyer and wafer lock on YouTube. They're a rudimentary lock, and that's really what you do to deal with a dead battery on this. So in reality, $250 is okay. Oh, the other criticism, they like to show the photo of these bolts, but really they're just in pieces of sheet. They're just passing through a piece of sheet metal back to another piece of sheet metal. They're like, they actually activate, but they're like really cheesy. The big deal is these hinges. They're just terrible. I mean, this could be a big crowbar and you'll just be able to pop those hinges. So these aren't safes in the traditional term of safe, but they are a lockbox. I don't really understand this. We have this thing on the inside, safe, road to the saint, flawless reaching, does not create it to make it. Sir Frederick Henry. Anyway, that was so I could just show the internals here. It does have like an alarm, so if somebody tries, I guess, forcing it or entering the wrong code too many times, it will sound an alarm. So, that's kind of the point of just being like a home utility safe. When it activates, this little solenoid here, an electromagnet, pulls that little plunger down and allows this rack. And you can see those bolts are really, they're just passing through a thin sheet metal wall, and then they're just been riveted to this other piece of sheet metal here, so they're still probably more secure than those little tiny hinges that just have a couple little, come on camera, couple little spot welds on them. I mean, in reality, compared to the Walmart stack-ons and stuff, this is just what you get for $250. Safes are real safes are way more expensive than people realize. That's why so many people who actually have real ones get old used ones, because those are the only ones that are even remotely affordable. Needed some big pliers. I ended up actually using these 12-inch nippers just because they have a huge amount of leverage. And I was able to get that door to flush up by just compressing the backing piece to the front piece all the way around. So these are kind of quickly manufactured. Anyway, once again, I appreciate Vevor sending this to me as a promotional product. These are the kind of things that, if I were to buy, I would probably be I probably would have had too high of expectations and been disappointed. Plus, the likelihood of having some kind of issue like where it's bent up or getting dented. Shippers are harsh in the United States, and things like this, the boxes get dropped. The box wasn't really beat up, but these things are heavy and bulky, so they get dropped and kicked around. They're at the bottom of the delivery truck, and that's one thing to make note of. Sometimes it's worth the extra money just to go to a brick and mortar retailer so you can get one that you know is in good condition, rather than having to deal with the hassle of having one that's beat up and having to ship it back. But I think this could be handy for people, and maybe dorms, or as a bunch of college students living in a house. This is something where you can keep, more important items, even like your laptop and camera gear or whatever, just somewhere that is safer than a locking desk drawer or a standard file cabinet or something. Really, it's not that much money, especially for a reasonable amount of space.